fucking duck like this to be sent to a dick like this. A dick like, hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Going Over podcast. It is I, your neighborhood friendly coach, trainer, promoter, and 43-year-old professional wrestler, Zack Primetime Reeb. And I'm joined alongside my podcast partner.
You're getting good. You're getting good at
Good,
the old
baby.
directional arrow here. Well, I noticed that you are wearing the Oregon Ducks green Happy Gilmore shirt, matches with the StreamYard logo. I mean, it seems like you planned this whole thing all out here.
It's all in the hips. It's all in the hips, says Funky. Funky. Welcome to my podcast partner, the 7-foot wrecking ball, Paul Isadora. And Paul, I want to start this out by saying, man, I remember when I was a drunk. And I remember I used to love people. I used to love being around people. I used to think everybody was my friend, and I had so much friendly fun out there, and I was just a wonderful person to be around. And here I am almost 1 year into actual recovery, and I hate people. I hate going out in public. I hate when people talk to me. I am just like in Blades of Glory. The Chaz Michaels over here. I am the lone wolf. Oh, don't cheat, don't. Wolf pack is back, baby. I am the lone wolf, and things. I try to cover them up a lot, but things really just piss me the fuck off. And sometimes I just want to reach out and just strangle every single person on my news feed on a regular basis. Yeah, social media is driving me insane, and it has been for a long time. But on that note, how are you doing this evening?
Oh, doing good, man. Just got done with another training session. It's one of those deals, man, where you wish you had more people to kind of get in there and work around with, but sometimes it's just a few, man. Yesterday it was 0, so it's just the frustration that we feel sometimes about, do people really want to be a pro wrestler, or do they want to just tell people that they want to be a pro wrestler? And all the things that we've talked about for 45 episodes of, are we making it too easy to get into the business? Are we satisfied with good enough? Like all these questions are popping into my head, and it's just like
Yes and yes.
Lots and lots of frustration. I feel like there was I surrounded myself with people who were very critical of bad wrestling, and now I feel like there's a lot of I don't know, hand holding. I like to think about like coddling, things like that. Talking nicely to someone, and it's always my least favorite critique when you come through the curtain and you say to someone that you respect, "Hey, what'd you think about my match?" And they're like, "Oh, good." And it's like you can't pick something apart for me. You can't tell me something sucked. You can't tell me work on this. You can't tell me this can be better. You can't give me some feedback. Like, I want something to work on. I want some constructive criticism. And then I feel like I have the opportunity to critique some people, and because I don't just, this was pretty good, instead of saying that, it's like, you're such a dick, man. You're gonna make people want to quit the business and quit the life on earth. You're such a jerk, man.
Big Paul, yeah, Paul, I'm going to let you know something right now. A
What's
critique,
up?
a critique from Paul Isadora, a match critique from Paul Isadora should be labeled fucking suicide watch. And the reason I say this is you really do critique the shit out of a match. I mean, you go from the start of the video to the end of the video, and there are not a lot of nice things being said in this critique. It's hilarious for me to read, and I go back sometimes and I go, you know, I am very nice with my critiques, and I'm pretty good in a world where I was just open this show up where I'm like, I want to fucking strangle everybody and choke them. And it's not that you're wrong. I don't think you're wrong one bit in what you're saying. I just think there's no possible way that somebody can digest everything that you're telling them, whether it's a 5-minute match or a 15-minute match, because it's just too much. Everything you're saying is right, but there's no way there's no way in bloody hell these kids are going to go back and they're going to read that critique and go, I'm going to work on everything he said, because you really hammered home a critique on those guys. And I think that the critique starts with the first thing that you notice that was fucked up. So you're like, okay, if it's the lockup, you critique the lockup and then you stop there, because it's like, I could tell this guy a shitload of stuff, more stuff. And if he can't get past this, if he's fucking up right here, clearly he's going to be fucking up the rest of the match. You know what I mean? So that's why I really enjoy your match critiques, because especially when I see you get real brutal brutal early on, because I'm like, oh, I saw you grab a waist lock. It was the only wrestling you seemed to do the entire match. I'm like, oh, that was just the start of the contest. Now I know everything following that is going to be it's going to be shit, and you're really just going to nail in the
Well,
coffin, baby.
right. Well, and something for me to take. I carry that into training today, and that's the type of stuff that I talk about. It's like, hey, listen, man, you guys, we have these guys, kind of chaining around and stuff, and I think like, regardless of how many times I say it, it doesn't. It's not hitting home. It's not hitting home when you go, hey, chain around, exchange some holds. Until the baby face is outshining you to the point where you're frustrated and I got to take a shortcut, right? But for some reason, it's the baby face is going to outshine me for 45 seconds. Then I'm going to take a shortcut. And it's like, no, you guys know enough chain wrestling to work around for a couple minutes. You guys have a lot of different things, holds, counter holds, things like that we've showed you, and it's a bit frustrating, I think, because it's like you're trying to emphasize. I don't know how many times I've told somebody that I could do a 4-corner drill and I could use that as a match, right? Because I could work a guy one time around the ring and I don't know, like I can just put heat on a guy and I can let him sell and I can let them, get sympathy and fight back a little bit, just punches or whatever, push me away. But you can use, a minute in every corner easy. Um, and you can string something like that out for, to create an entire match that makes sense. That you don't take any bumps in, and it's like, and I just, you just made that comment to me yesterday when I was talking about, um, getting cleared through the doctor. It's like, well, you just gotta, don't get dropped on your head, and then you just started going into all these little things, and watch out when you're dropping an elbow on someone, and watch out when you're dropping a leg drop, and watch out when you're suplexing someone. It's like, all these things, all these bumps that you're taking that you think are nothing, and then you realize, well, damn, every time I fall down, I got to get back up, and every time you fall down, it's a small little car crash, and you think about all these little things that are, for us being older, it's you think about it, but when you're young, it's just I'm going from spot A to spot B to spot C. It's we're just going in some sort of order, and there's no thought into what story am I trying to tell with this match. And I think that was like the first thing that I said is like, what are you trying to accomplish with this match? Like, what is the story? And I just hope that people don't take that as like, I'm being a complete asshole. It's a legit question. We talked about the Young Lions Cup when I was asking people questions because I wanted to know what the answer was. It wasn't because I was saying, hey, that's stupid. It was because I wanted to know what the logic was. Like, tell me what you're thinking about as you're going into this. That way I can get it in my mind as well. And then I can go, oh, okay, that's the story that you're trying to tell. So either you're doing a good job telling the story that you want to tell, or you're not doing a good job telling that story because it doesn't make sense while I'm watching it.
Well, there's no logic, right? Like you were just talking about the shine, and you were saying it doesn't have to be 45 seconds, and the shine could be anything. The shine could be we lock up, and the baby face, the fans are cheering for the good guy, and the good guy hits a quick arm drag or a collar and elbow drag or something, or a drop toe hold, and the heel flops down and hits his nose on the mat and gets up pissed off. That is out wrestling. That is outshining the heel. But we talk about the chain wrestling, like why are we not getting more out of it? And the reason we're not getting more out of it is because I locked up. I shook you off. I gave you an arm wringer, and then I turned you to a fucking wrist lock. And most people don't even know that's what a wrist lock is this hold that they're holding onto their chest. And it's 3 different moves because it's like, okay, I tied up with you, and then I took this 2-on-1 and I have it key locked. So I can snap your fucking shoulder. It's like a whizzer. I can snap your shoulder or straighten your arm out and snap your arm in half right here. So you have to reach around and defend it, right? And in defending it, I got to shove my arm through and break off, and I got to go to give you that arm wringer. Well, you in the defense of the ringer, all you got to do is grab your hands. If you can grab your hand for the ringer before it gets over my head, then I can defend this and even turn you around with it. And now I've got an overhook, and then I got to turn it to that wrist lock. So a simple thing in chain wrestling where the guys go, and what'd that take? 5 seconds right there? You can get 1.5 to 2 minutes out of getting to the wrist lock and working this ringer and getting the 2-on-1. And these guys have just no patience whatsoever because they're like, oh, this wrestling's easy. I'll throw this one up behind the back, grab it over here. Oh, hey, tag team partner, go for it, LeBron. I'll throw this guy's arm up in the air. Alley-oop, slam dunk, baby. 2 points on the board. And do not throw the guy's fucking arm behind your back and twist and catch it with your other hand because that's not real. You might look cool. You might have seen somebody do it, but that's some fake phony garbage. Don't do that. Keep the chain wrestling tight. Make it a struggle. That's what we're looking for, and that's how we're going to get longer. One of my biggest pet peeves, I got a fucking side headlock on you. And you ain't going. I just seen it on a couple videos this last week. I got this side headlock on you. You ain't going nowhere, pal. And I'm the guy in control of it, and I decide I'm going to reach over and give you a one-armed lazy arm wringer and start working your arm. Why? You haven't thrown me around the waist. You haven't picked a leg. You have given me no reason in my mind to go, this headlock that I have clamped around this grown man and I'm in firm control of. Ooh, it looks like I'm losing control of this, so I better just one arm this arm real quick and work that baby. Because why would you give up a more dominant position for a shit position? It doesn't make sense, and that's to answer your question right there. On that is, yes, the chain wrestling needs to be a struggle, and the shine, all that is, it could be a poke in the eye, man. A shine is just that baby face just getting the better of anything on the heel until the heel says, you know what, enough's enough, and I'm gonna take advantage or do a dirty tactic real quick. But a lot of times that doesn't matter when he cuts him off with something like that because there's no fucking rules anyways. No rules are being enforced. And we've talked about this in a podcast before. How do you enforce a rule? How does a rule breaker get heat when the referee is just standing there allowing him to abuse the fucking 10 count, 15 count, 20 count, whatever the damn count is? So, we got to, that's what I've been trying to do down there, down at your place, man, is just bring back like, hey guys, here's what the referee, here's a rule. Here's why this happened, whether it's a good guy or bad guy. The bad guy just happens to be going, hey, this is the rule. You didn't do it. So let's tell a story with the rule here. What? Oh, man.
Yeah, I think first you say you have a tough last couple days, and it's very similar for me. I had a guy that came up to me at the last show that was asking about wanting to train, and I told him how much it cost, and oh, well, I don't know if I can afford that, and blah blah. And I said, well, here's what you can do, man. I can give you some tickets, right? And you can sell those tickets, and half of that revenue would go to you. So if you sell enough tickets, you could use your portion to um, pay for wrestling school. So this guy calls me today, and he's asking me, what time do you need me to be there? And I say, be where? What are you talking about? And he's like, yo, you said selling tickets. And I was like, oh, you think I'm just gonna have you sit at the table and take tickets of people that have already purchased or are already coming to the show? And it's like, I was like, no, man, the way it's gonna work is, you're gonna put in the work and you're gonna sell the tickets, and then your portion of the money is how you're gonna pay for wrestling school. And I'm just like, this goes right back to the same thing as I want to train to be a wrestler, but I can't afford to do it. So how about if I just come and help out, like setting up the ring and stuff like that? And it's like, sorry, man, that's not how it works. There's no barter value in that. There isn't like, I'll train you if you come set up the ring. It's like, if I'm training you, you will also be setting up the ring, as a part of, this is the paying dues portion. And I don't know if that's getting lost somewhere. Is we talked about that in the past. It's like, well, I'm not just helping you set up the ring for nothing, right? It's like, well, right, yeah, you better pony up and give me some bread, So I'm like,
The
I don't understand some of these things, and it's just
the
it
idea.
boggles my mind sometimes, the thought process of um, some people, But again, getting to the frustration of, you start with, I was all pumped, man. We got 15 students, and all excited, and I'm not. A rookie in the game. I'm not naive to the fact that we're not going to just keep 15 students for multiple years. I knew there's going to be some attrition, but when you get down to, you can only count on, two or three people showing up on a certain day, and your big day is, maybe 7 or 8 people. You're just like, man, that's a far cry from what we started at. So frustrating in that aspect as well, and definitely some other stuff as well.
Well, it's disheartening, man. We talked about that before. I see on the internet a lot of times. I see there's the guy from Australia, Slater. I forgot what his first name is, but he's always saying some good stuff. He's showing some stuff that I show, and he's got a lot of good logic as to why we're move him around in the cravat and the clinch. And like I've told everybody, PCW Primetime University, myself, we run off the clinch and the 2-on-1 risk control. And that's what we're going to do. If you lose control of the clinch, you're going to the 2-on-1. If you lose control of the 2-on-1, you're going to the clinch. And we're picking guys up from the clinch and we're moving them around to grab and work that arm off the 2-on-1 wrist control with our shoulder and our head and everything. And it's more based that way. A lot of guys don't know amateur unless they know amateur. I happen to come up in a time where Rick, Scotty, a kid named Cameron Clyburn, there was a lot of amateur wrestlers and shooters, freestyle, Greco-Roman, and I had no clue how to do any of that shit. I'm just a hillbilly, just a country kid from a 5-acre farm with a pond and some cows. You know what I mean? And these kids are coming up from the Bay Area, Sacramento, and they're just shooting all over me and just beating my ass into the mat. And I didn't know how to sit out and switch. I didn't know how to do this stuff. But I learned over time. And what I say a comparison level to that is, I always say one of my second favorite match. No. I believe I said my favorite match. Number 2 was so my favorite match is Benoit versus Angle, right? I talked about that one from the Rumble. And that's a legitimate fucking gold medalist in amateur wrestling and freestyle against Chris Benoit, who's just a pro wrestler. So I accumulate, I compare what I learned. Like if you put me in a ring with a Rick Luxury or someone like that, what they know, if they go 50%, I can go with them and look well on the mat. But if they kick it above 50%, I'm going to get my shit beat in the dirt. You know what I mean? So it's little things like that. It's how we train, man. There's so many schools. There's so many different prices. There's, that Monster Factory I see in New Jersey or whatever it is. God, they got like 10 rings, man. They got a lot going on. When I was in Texas at DFW's got 2 or 3 rings in a real nice facility, and they put out some quality students. So it's what are you going to get out of these guys, man? Because at the end of the day, everybody only knows so much, and there's so much detail that goes into this training that you're really just trying to put out a product. And that's one thing that I've always felt that Roland really looked at me, because he endorsed the PCW work farm, and we were the only school he actually ever endorsed. Was I had an ability, man, where maybe a lot of my talent didn't show up on WWE and get signed to a contract and wrestle on WrestleMania. But if you really look at the last, I don't know, 2 decades and runs of wrestlers that have come through NorCal, I've put out and worked with a lot of good talent, man. So that's all you can hope for, is just like this podcast we talk about all the time, is we just have to stay consistent.
Absolutely, and I think it's just that's the goal, is that you continue to, even with, like, obviously I'm talking about frustration right now, even with the frustration of what we're feeling right now, just knowing that uh, if you continue, I mean, it's very much the the baseball batting average thing, where you might train 100 guys, and if you get 10 guys that can make a living, or wrestle at a high level, you feel like you're doing a pretty good job. And then if you get into the 20-30s out of 100, then you're like, one of the top guys. You're doing a great job training guys. So I feel like the more people that we get our hands on, the more people that we can kind of show. The odds, I feel like at this point are kind of stacked against us when it comes to um, the people that you would like to just walk into your school. You're not just going to have um, a conveyor line of 6'4", 240-pound guys who are athletic, just walking into your school. You're going to have to, every once in a while, you'll get one of those. And then you're going to have to take those guys that are, the smaller guys that maybe don't have a whole lot of athletic background, and you're going to have to take them. And, I hear you talk about it all the time about how you just, you find out what their strengths are, and you help them, really make those strengths shine, and see what you can do about hiding some of the weaknesses. So that's really what we need to do. But I just feel like you continue on with doing what you can, right? We started off by me saying giving brutal reviews about wrestling matches, and for me it's honesty, right? It's like I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I'm not gonna tell you, hey, you're doing a really great job if I don't really think that that's the truth, right? I'm gonna say, hey, here's what I saw. And you said, hey, you're giving these people a laundry list of things to work on. But in past podcasts, I've talked about that, right? You give people a bunch of things that you saw wrong with it as a way to say, hey, there's a lot of work to be done. But what we want them to do is we want them to pick something out of there. We talked about Preston Price, and big advice that you gave to him is, hey, man, you need to do a better job selling, right? So the next time that we saw him, it was, it was that perfect example, right? You hear it so many times that somebody gets some advice, or they asked you, hey, would you mind watching my match? Or hey, what'd you think? And you give them some feedback, and they don't change anything, But when you have the guy that asked you for some feedback, and the next time you see him, you saw that they changed that. It's just a great indication that people are listening. And I think about
his gear too.
Vinny talking to me about throwing a big boot, right? And talking about, why don't you step through people so you don't step on top of people, and just things like that. Where and like I said, man, I'm a guy that wants that constructive criticism, and I want to know what I can make better, because I feel with a professional basketball background, I was very much a perfectionist, right? I never thought I was good enough at anything, so I always thought like, oh well, I just got to put in more work, and even if you got something that was better than 90% of the people, you still felt like you had to do it better, because oh well, I got to be perfect at it, it has to be exactly right. And you don't want people, in pro wrestling, you don't want people to see through what you're doing, right? You don't want someone to say, oh, that looked fake, or that looked shitty, or whatever. You want to make things look realistic. And man, look how you took that dude's head off with that. And then, it comes back to say, oh, that dude's one of the best guys to work with, maybe he's super light in there, and things like that. So, I think it's just it's a numbers game, man.
Practice makes progress, brother. Practice makes progress. You said about Preston Price, and I said, yeah, you're standing up. You just got to sell for me more, because you're taller than me. And I gave him that whole spiel. And then I seen him at this your last show, and he had these really nice red tights on. He had these really nice knee pads and boots. And then I saw a clip of him at the anniversary show for SPW, and he was wearing different gear too. And another piece of advice I gave him, and I gave it to Travis Alexander too, and I give it to a lot of guys, is every 6 months, if you can do it more, do it. But every 6 months, change something, whether it's a piece of your gear, new laces in your boots, a new haircut, new necklace around, new earrings, just something. The way you walk to the ring, change every 6 months, twice a year. And if you could do it every 3 months, do it too. Do it 4 times a year. Change something about yourself, and don't just change it about yourself at your home promotion in your place you're running at. If you got 12 bookings that month, go change that thing at all 12 bookings. And then when you come back around to those 12, if you come back around to those 12 bookings, change it again and again and again. And it's like I said, I'm really enjoying watching Travis Alexander navigate this thing. And I'm blessed that he calls me and messages me and values my opinion. And I get to talk to him about a lot of stuff, you know. Until we got in the ring before your last show, I hadn't been in the ring or locked up with them at all. This was just a visual and and just a talking uh conversation, a learning experience. So I am sitting here now, and like one thing I told Preston Price, get some different gear, look different. Well, I've told Travis and I've sent him to the gear lady, and he hasn't changed his gear yet. So that's a thing right there too. Is like he's listening in so many different ways, but also he's got a good look, he's got a good body, all these great things he's got going on for him. Get some new gear, you know what I mean? Grab a new vest, a jacket, something. Change something about yourself, because there's so many people doing this, and it's just so cookie cutter. We're going to turn around, you know, we're going to see it all. And I talk about it all the time with all the programming going on, all the wrestling. Oh, I got a double shot. I got a triple shot. I double book myself. You know, there's a difference between a double shot and double booking yourself. A double shot means that you're going to wrestle at this time at one company, and then you already told them that you're going to work for them at another at this time, and you're accommodating both bookings. Double booked means someone's getting fucked. You know what I mean? One is, hey man, this guy's he's gonna bounce from Nevada to Sacramento, and he's gonna accommodate and meet up and do both bookings. You know what I mean? Being double booked, or I double book myself, means, and usually when you hear the wrestler tell you, oh crap, I double booked myself, he's not telling the other guy he double booked himself, because the other guy, he's going to that booking. So if you happen to be on the end of that email, if people still do that, or that text message or messenger or snap or whatever the hell is going on, or that simple phone call, and he says, man, hey, what's going on? I double booked myself. If he's telling you he double booked himself, there's a 100% chance that you're the guy that he's going to fuck in that equation. That's why he's telling you, because he's trying to be nice about it. But I mean, that's just the thing, man. When we look at it all, we get to these points and we say, hey, what Josh Edlow said it. It was he said it on the podcast, and he said, show me why I should pay you. What are you going to do for me that I can't get from somebody else? And if you can offer that to me out there in that booking, then I'll pay you more money. I'll pay you whatever you want.
Of course, and that's those things, man. And I've talked about it so many times about you have somebody who can't make it to your show, and whatever the circumstances is, if it's I double booked myself, if it's hey, I got a better opportunity, if it's my car broke down, if it's I got hurt, I got a new job, whatever it is, so many of those times that person gets put on the back burner and somebody fills in for them, and hopefully, we tell people this all the time about bringing your gear to a show up just to help out, come and network, whatever it is. Show up at a show, man. Show up, introduce yourself, network, and a lot of times, you tell people that, hey, you got to have that mentality, man. They might ask you to do something. It might be something small, but do the best job you can at that small thing, because that's going to get you an opportunity to do something a little bit bigger next time. Or maybe that's in the person that canceled, person that can't make it, maybe that person gets put on the back burner, and the person that came in and did a great job at their small part now fills in for that person the next time as well. It's like, oh well, we'll slide you right into whatever the storyline, or we'll slide you right into the situation, whatever it is. And then now all of a sudden you've taken that just showing up and shaking hands and helping with ring crew or whatever, doing whatever you need to do for that promoter, and you take that and you turn that into a regular booking. That, oh well, we're going to use you every time. You're figured in now because we like what you did. You followed directions. You did a good job. Whatever it is. It's just one of those deals, man, where you can weasel yourself in to those situations. But like Edlo said, you need to stand out, right? Show me that you're going to do something for my promotion that someone else can't do, right? And when you're talking about cookie cutter guys, that's exactly what we're looking for. We don't want it to be, you're just another, 5'8", 145-pound guy. I talk about it in basketball so much, right? These college coaches probably get hundreds of emails from 6-foot guards where they're like, well, fuck, dude, I've got 1,000 emails from a 6-foot guard. Show me a 6'7" guy. That's going to open my eyes and get my attention. So it's the same thing with pro wrestling, man. I don't need a guy that can do a moonsault, because everyone can do a moonsault. I want someone that can come in and get the crowd invested in whatever they're doing in the ring that night. Whatever story they're trying to tell, the crowd is getting invested into it and they care about it. And you're building sympathy, or you're getting heat, or whatever you're doing that better than somebody else on the card, or you're doing that better than everyone else on the card. That's how you're going to stand out, and that's how you're going to be those guys that okay, well, you go from just the regular booking fee to something more. You make your own price.
Well, when you look at it, at the end of the day, we always talk about the Mount Rushmore, right? And we sit here and we tell you, like, name the top 20, name the top 25. You know what I mean? And there's a laundry list of guys you can name, but when you start talking about guys that are making, until AEW came around and Tony Khan started paying all these guys ridiculous amounts of money. But when you really thought about wrestling coming up, there was 10 guys, man, coming up in the Attitude Era. Like, there were 10 guys that were probably making $500,000 to $1 million a year. And I know I'm using an example back then, but it's more now. But what I'm saying is, you get, how many stars have there been, like real superstars? Because everyone says, oh, AEW Dark Superstar is on our flyer at this independent. Like, that's not a superstar. Even when they put, like, Thunder Rosa. Thunder Rosa was a world champion at AEW. She was a world champion. And, then she got injured. I don't think she ever lost the title. We've talked about this before. And then she made probably 6 figures at the Spanish commentary table. Well, this is a former world champion who got injured and spent 1.5 years at the fucking table making 6 figures a year, no matter what she done. Shotzi Blackheart was just released. Carl Fredericks was just released. These guys made a good little chunk of change. But I mean, like, even a Carl Fredericks, he probably made maybe $125,000 a year off WWE. And you sit here and you go, in NXT, and you go, well, he got paid $125,000 a year to be a wrestler. Yeah, that's pretty good money. That's pretty good money, but that's not game-changing money, man. How many wrestlers has there been in life that are like, dude, this guy was able to buy houses and whatever he wanted off of this business, man. And that's what we forget about, is everybody so quickly, and I heard Bubba Dudley talking about it. He said, we got to quit saying these guys are great at things. We got to quit saying that they're excellent, unbelievable. We got to quit saying these things because the ego of professional wrestlers, whether they're making $20 on the indies in a podunk town or they got a tryout match or something, the egos of wrestlers coming up are just so great, man. Everybody wants to be a professional wrestler. So if you get on at an AEW tryout match or a WWE tryout match, all of a sudden, if you go to those news feeds, everyone's like, "Oh my God, you did it! You made it there, and I can't wait to see you wrestle John Cena at Wrestle." No, not going to happen, man. These are few and far between. So when we realistically look at this and we're talking about, hey, what can you offer us? And we're giving you advice and we're giving you this really good advice that's like, hey, man, it's as simple as just sell more. It's as simple as keep your chin up and show your face. It's as simple as just get some sympathy going on here. Bump well, bump and feed. I don't need to tell somebody, hey, man, you let them go a little high on that belly to back. Because here's the thing, catch 22. I'm going to take you up and I'm going to bring you flat down on that belly to back. And then there's just handfuls of guys that are going to pick you up and they're going to slow fall like a tree and they're going to drop you high on your fucking neck and damn near break your neck, man. I think I forgot who it was, but I think Ugly was wrestling one of his students and he gave him that same high, slow falling belly to back, which that's meant to just Eddie Guerrero, man. Eddie Guerrero had that best belly to back. Angle was doing them too. And that high, slow falling one, man, is just, it's dangerous. It's dangerous. And guys throwing the German suplex, that can be dangerous too, man. Like Rick Luxury throwing that shit. If you know what you're doing and Rick likes you, he's going to put you down right. If you don't like you and you don't know what you're doing, you're going to land high up on your neck and you're going to have some neck problems later in life. So we look at all these things like, who is the talent? I just told Jason Xavier in a locker room, I said, man, in 10 years, being a Ninja Warrior don't mean shit, right? Like your knees don't matter in 10 years. What can you offer us out here in 10? I can't jump like I used to jump before. And that was one of the main things. We're like, man, that guy must have been half black, man. He could dunk a basketball. He could jump. He's got hang time. Yeah, I did. I don't now. So what can I do to stay relevant at 43, going to be 44? And you have to look at these things, man. Promo chasing, man. You got to be able to talk. Got to be able to interact with that crowd. I don't give a shit what moves you can do. I really don't. I had some guys ask me the other day. They said, hey, did you watch our match? And I said, I watched the entrance. And then I watched the finish. They go, oh, you saw the finish of my match? No, I saw the finish of the finish. The segment when the guy came out after your match was over. Well, what'd you think of the finish to our match? I didn't watch it. I don't care. I needed this to get over. Maybe I'll go back and check it later, but your entrance was cool. Got over. Didn't care about the moves. Didn't care about your finish of the specific match. I cared about when the other guy came out and what we got there because I needed to see if we had anything going here. Did we fail? Because the finish of your match was just secondary to the secondary segment finish that was coming behind it. So I need to know what the crowd is into. I need to know where we're going. I don't care about your moves. I need to know that you can interact and talk to that crowd. And I know that was a bit lengthy in what I was saying, but my point to anybody who's out there listening to us is we're giving you gold, man. And we're not giving you this gold like, hey, you know what, Paul, let's do a podcast and let's stroke our own fucking egos and hurt people's feelings and be dickhead. No, we're just telling you because we've been there. I know you went, I loved your story. You told me you're on Tough Enough with Kirsch, but you went there and they were like, fuck, lose some weight. And then you showed me the picture and you look like a 7-foot fucking gladiator, tanned up bronze gladiator. And then they told you to gain some more weight. So it's like, you're going to get thrown through hoops, man. You're going to go through some shit, The only thing we really got in this business, man, is stay consistent, be humble, and just show the fuck up. And that's it. Like if you have been in this business 10 or so years and you've never made a living out of it for one of those years, shut the fuck up.
Right. And I think for me, you know, and I told the guy that that I critiqued the match. I said, hey, you know, don't think that I'm being a dick, you know, about the critique. Just understand that I see potential, and I want you to be great, but just know that right now it's not going, you know, it's not looking great. So you know, the things that I'm saying is in an effort to go, hey, here's some stuff that you can work on. um and this gets back to the comment that I made at the very beginning of this is, are we just saying like, are we okay with good enough, you know, or are we in a situation we're trying to get better? You know, are we surrounding ourselves with people that are going to get us better, or are we just going places because it's comfortable? Right? Oh, I know the guys at this promotion. We're friends. Whatever. You know, even though these guys maybe are not pushing you to get better, you're still going there because it's a place of comfort, right? Oh, I'm going to go and I'm going to be on a show with my friends, and you know, we're going to play pro wrestler on the weekend and stuff like that. So, I mean, this is one of those things where, you know, you think back about the people that we were surrounded with when we were, you know, first starting to get in, and it was, you know, we've talked about it, you know, over and over. There just wasn't that many promotions out there to get booked in. So it was like, I need to be better than the rest of these people, or I need to be one of the best if I want to get booked on these shows. It wasn't just like, oh, hey, this guy's my friend, I'm going to book him. It was like, this guy's better than these other guys, so I'll book him. And you had to earn your spot at some of these places because you were pushing the envelope and you were pushing some of these other people to get better, and vice versa. You know, I felt so fortunate to travel with, you know, the Malachis and Luster and Adam and Choopy. Like, I always felt like those guys were trying to, uh, you know, be one of the best on the card, you know, and that pushed me to try to be better as well. Like, how do I keep up with these guys who I view as being the top of the card, and how do I get to the top of the card, and what are these guys doing to get there? And you know, and asking people, like I said, you know, asking for that constructive criticism, and never being okay with just, oh, that was pretty good, or you did great, or whatever, you know, trying to dig for more, right? I don't want to hear that I had a good match. I want to hear that there's some things I need to fix, right? Work on this, and that match could be better. I don't know how many times I got that from Adam and Luster, you know, like, you could have done this better. Um, Next time, come talk to me before your match. Um, so I understand, like, kind of the same thing that I'm asking people about, like, what is your mindset? What are you thinking about when you're going into this match? What's the story you're trying to sell? You know, what are we trying to accomplish here? What are we trying to get over? And let's build a match based off of that. What type of things can you do to get that point across? And how are we going to tell this story the way that we want to tell it? So I think, you know, it's, yeah, I think it's just, it's priceless information, and it's priceless, um, you know, relationships that you build with people that aren't afraid to be honest with you. So I think that's what we need, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is too, you said it right here, like as I'm digging deeper. You said, what are we trying to tell? What's the story we're trying to tell? Well, if the fucking promoter, if the guy running the shit doesn't know what he wants out of you, then how do you know what you're just kind of out there blindly swinging for the fences? Like, here's what we're going to get out of this, since this guy doesn't know what the fuck he wants or what he's talking about. So this is kind of, we're going to record this. This is what we want to work on. This is what we want, the match we want to send out, like, because we used to have to send out tape back in the day. So if you're working for a promoter who has no fucking clue what he wants to do with you, or what the flow of his show is, or the direction, or where anything is going, you're going in blind. You are going in blind. And that's one of the reasons why I was very picky about where I worked. And I was very open and honest with the promoters. You know, it was the respect I had with Roland Alexander and Gabe Ramirez, and even Jason Dedrich when I was down there for a while. I've always been really open and honest with the promoter as to what are we going to do here? What's the idea of this? And I've also been very open and honest with promoters when I know the time is over or we're getting near the end of the time. So we get, one thing I like to do at PCW is I like to talk to the guys on the phone. I like to see their face. I like to hear their voice. In person works even better for me. And I like to say, hey, excuse me, this is where I see this going. Can you get us here? Do you see yourself getting here? And we need to be on the same page, because it can't just be a match. You know, it can't just be like, hey, I'm booking you for a match, you know, whatever. Like, where is this going? Why do you have me on your show? Do you have me on your show just because I'm fucking there? Because I flew myself in? Because I'm willing to work for free just to try to get, like, what do you see from me, man? And that's something that, you know, me and you talk about all the time is, God, man, like, so many people are working for promotions that are just like, hey, we got a card. This is the card. Go out there and give me a banger. The fuck is a banger? You know what I mean? I get what you're saying a banger is. Like, I get it. I get your cool lingo, man. Man, this is that match was busting. That was lit. That was fire. Wet, dead ass, say less, man, on God. You know, I get all that, but like, what do you want from your talent? Fuck. You know what I mean? Like, it baffles me when you go somewhere and somebody is just like, hey, it's you and this guy tonight. And I'll be sitting in the locker room and listening to it, and I'll be like, yeah, what's up? What's going on? Like, oh no, we're just trying to get, you know, some stuff filmed for this, or, you know, we're just filling out the card. And I'm just like, well, then why are we even doing this? Why are we here? If there is no intent to build this thing, if there is no intent to make money, if there is no intent to get more production and exposure and more fans, if there is no intent to do any fucking thing with this goddamn company, why the fuck are we even running the goddamn show? You said it earlier, it baffles you. It blows my fucking mind, man. Like, go explain, Mr. Promoter. Go explain to these two guys in match one what the fuck you want and why the fuck you want it. And explain it to them, because you go, here's where we see you in the future. I know I can send Sergio out there and he don't have to win. Sergio Santana, ladies and gentlemen, and he doesn't have to win. I know I can send him out there. He don't even have to fucking wrestle, because he's going to get over right at the start of the show. I know Doc Haywood is going to sit at his house and edit the fuck out of fucking wrestling for Saturdays and whatever we need him to do, because that's what Doc Haywood does, because he knows where he's going. I talked to Doc today about something we have going on Saturday, and I said, hey, you're the producer. I'm the booker. I want to continue. We got 3 episodes of this. I want to continue this off of this. So let's run this. What do you think of this? And he goes, oh, I love it. Because we're feeding off each other, man. Because we have somewhere where we want to go. Ladies and gentlemen, 5 minutes remain in this fucking podcast. 5 minutes. Paul, take it from me right here. Because I'm too passionate about this shit, man. I'm too passionate about this shit, and it just drives me insane that people would actually put on a wrestling event and not have a fucking clue where they want to go with it. They're like, oh, fuck, five matches. Who gives a fuck? Let's go here. Oh, I bought a new belt too, by the way. Oh, did you? You bought a new belt for what? You don't even know what the fucking character is of the guy you're putting the belt on. So come on, let's be better.
Well, this goes back to the are we okay with just good enough? And it's it's are we running a wrestling promotion just to run a wrestling promotion, or are we running a wrestling promotion because this is the wrestling business and we're trying to make money at it and we're trying to get better? I feel like the conversations, going back to just being honest with people, the conversations that you and I have about how to make more money are, are very valuable to me. It's like I'm talking to you yesterday about flyering. Like, this is the best that I've done in my entire career as far as getting out on flyering. And you're just like, well, I'm glad you're fucking picking it up. I'm glad you're learning. And I'm like, well, damn it, I'm glad I am too, man. Because it sucks when you're not making much money off of a show you put so much work into. And it feels way better when you're making money hand over fist, right? You put out the product that people want to see, and they're involved and they're interested in it. And they're coming and buying concessions and buying merch and buying tickets for the next show and doing all these great things that generate revenue for your promotion. And it's that's probably another frustration that I've been dealing with is do we want to make money at this, or do we want to just not lose too much? And I think it's too many promotions that I think are like that. It's like, oh, well, we're going to be able to tell people that we're running a professional wrestling show, and then they're like, oh, well, is that your job? Say, oh no, I've got this other job that I have to work so I can run wrestling shows. Right? I use the money that I make from my regular job to pay for the money that I'm losing on professional wrestling shows, just so I can say I'm running professional wrestling shows. Like, you're hitting the nail right on the head when you're talking about, if you have no direction, how are you going to get people invested in what you're doing, and why would they come back to watch the next show, or why would they travel to another town that's a fair drive away? What's going to get them interested in what you're doing, and what makes them want to take money out of their pocket and give it to you in exchange for seeing this?
Well, you got to, man. I know we're about 1:30 left here, but it's not that I'm coming down on anybody or saying any one promotions, but it's, dude, you paid for the venue. You went and searched for the venue. You booked the wrestlers. You got the ring there. You made the flyers. You did all this work. Finish it off, man. Like, you did all these amazing things to get this show going and all this talent. And then you ain't going to give nobody shit. Like, that's amazing that you found a venue. That's amazing you booked the talent. That's amazing you got all the ring there. You got all this stuff. The bell is about to sound and you don't have shit. You don't have an idea of where the fuck you're going to go with this company that you spent all this money on. It's like, guys, take a shot, man. We can't be afraid to make money. And if we fail, we fail, but do something. Give me as the wrestler. Give my students some direction if you're a promoter out there and say, hey, I like the way this guy looks. I want to do this with him. This is what I want to see tonight on my product. And speaking of products, this product, man, for Big Paul, Zack Primetime Reeb, see you next time. We're going over, motherfuckers.